creating a scale. We're going to consider an example to determine how to create a scale. The points on the table below need to be represented on a graph. What variable name should be put on each axis and what scale should we use? So we're going to start with thinking about the variable name. Okay, so we're looking for the variable name on each axis and we want to find a scale. We have hours worked and total pay. Now, the amount of money you earn depends upon the hours worked. So your hours are your independent variable, and that variable should go on your horizontal or x-axis. Your total pay depends on hours worked, so it's your dependent variable, and therefore it will go on your vertical or your y-axis. Just a quick definition here. If you don't have a definition of independent and dependent variables, remember we can't control our independent variable. And the dependent depends on that. So now, we've already talked about which variable is going to go on the x-axis, so you can take a minute and you can copy that answer. The next thing we have to figure out, after we decide what variable to put on it, so we're going to put hours worked on the bottom, and total pay vertically. Okay, so we have to figure out how many boxes we actually have to count to put our information on the grid with. So if we look at the horizontal axis, we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boxes total. And vertically, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boxes also. We need to look at the range of the data we're working with. So we're going to use a formula to determine the scale. We're going to take the largest value or the maximum value and subtract the smallest or minimum value. And we're going to take that answer and divide by the total number of boxes. So if we look back here at total pay, the most amount of money earned is $63, and we have to subtract 0 from it. So to figure out our horizontal scale, or our vertical scale, sorry, we're going to do 63. 63 subtract 0, and then we're going to divide that answer by 8, and it's about 7.875. Now, I rounded that up. You always want to round up because that ensures that you have a little bit of extra space at the top of the graph or the side of the graph. I also chose to make my vertical scale 10.5 because when I looked at my data in the table and I looked for a pattern, I saw that every additional hour worked increased by 1050. So that's why I rounded up to 1050. If I look at the hours worked, I go from 0 to 6 hours. So when I do my horizontal scale, it will be 6 take away 0. And then I will also divide by 8. I don't know why that's not showing up here. So for horizontal, I'm going to do 6 take away 0 divided by 8, which is 3/4, and that's really close to 1. So I would count by ones. So now we're ready to plot our data. We've got hours worked. And again, I apologize, it's hard to write sometimes on this screen. And I'm not going to number everything because that's a lot of work. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ticks. I'm just going to put a 5 there to show my scale. And I'm going up by $10.50 each time, so that's $21. $10.50, then 21. Add another $10.50, add another $10.50, takes me to 42, and so on. And I need to write this is total pay and label my vertical axes. And I need a title representing weekly earnings. Sorry, I'm out of room there, guys. And I apologize for the penmanship. It is very difficult to write on the screen. So now we can plot our points. Hours worked is 0, total pay is 0. So we're starting at the origin, just like we always have. Hours worked is 1, which means we have to move 1 to the right. And you earn $10.50, so I go up to $10.50 and put a dot. Hours worked is 2. We go right 2 units and up 21. Hours worked is 3. I go right 3 units and up to 31.50, and so on. And I can plot the rest of my points using that same pattern. And I've now created what's called a scatter plot.